We are live in Covington this morning as we're following 1 year later those deadly storms that ripped through many parts of the Mid-South, including Tennessee and in Arkansas. Here in Covington, there has been a lot of work done, but there is still a lot left to do. Those tornadoes really left a path of destruction, damaging more than 40 businesses, more than 110 homes, but also 2 schools here in Covington as well. Later on in this show, we'll have more from a man who is still looking for a place to live 1 year later. And that damage didn't just stop here in Covington or in Tipton County. It went all the way down the road to McNairy County. 9 people were killed there. 300 homes were affected by the tornado there. 100 of those homes were destroyed. But state and federal resources are still available to the survivors there. We will have more live here from Covington in just a few minutes. But now, let's head across the bridge to Arkansas, where Trevor Burchett is live in Wynne this morning with a look at recovery efforts there. Trevor.
Yvonne, it was a year ago this weekend that Wynne changed forever.
Back out here live in Covington as we continue our team coverage this morning, remembering those deadly tornadoes that ripped through the Mid-South nearly 1 year ago today. This small town of nearly 9,000 people, they've been through a lot and they've lost a lot as well, including several businesses, but also more than 110 homes. One of the homes lost was the home of Taylor Jenkins. It was badly damaged during that tornado. Within moments, Dennis Taylor says that his neighborhood was nearly unrecognizable.
My life was changed. My community was changed. And we was at a point where the neighborhood rescue 911 couldn't get to our area because trees was all over the place.
It was a rough day for sure for the Taylor family and for many others. But in the midst of this tragedy, the Taylor family is clinging to faith and clinging to hope. Right now, they're still living with relatives 1 year later until they can find a place to live on their own, because there just is not enough available housing in Covington right now. Mayor Jen Hensley says that that is all a part of the city's 2024 rebuilding plan, where leaders have plans to build more family homes. And soon, crews will even start building a new police station with an 800-square-foot storm shelter in case this happens again in the city of Covington, so that people will have a safe place to go. One of the hardest hit areas in town is one that's known to many people who live here in Covington. It is the historic Crestview Elementary and Middle School. The building, unfortunately, is gone. Now, while the memories still remain, people here in Covington are looking ahead to the future of the school district. Our Stephen Reels has that story.
In Covington, I'm Stephen Reels.
People have a lot to look forward to here in Covington, but also a lot of loved ones to remember across the Mid-South. As those storms moved from Arkansas through Tennessee, it did take homes, but also it took lives. Trevor Burchett is live in Wynne, Arkansas this morning with more on the lives lost. As we remember those lives lost, it is also very important to remember those brave men, women, and people, those first responders that sprung into action to help many of the families and saved more lives that day as well. We have still more news, weather, and traffic to come here on ABC 24 in this special edition of our coverage this morning at 6. Up next, from triumph through tragedy, I'll introduce you to one man who is still homeless 1 year after his home was destroyed in Covington. You can see some of the downed trees behind me. They are actually from the storm that passed through this area nearly 1 year ago today. As you can tell, it's a big recovery effort, not just for businesses and schools here, but also for people who live here, including the Dennis Taylor family, who is still recovering and rebuilding by faith.
Just trust God with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding.
Dennis Taylor is a man of great faith.
Acknowledge him in all your ways, and he will direct your path.
His faith was tested nearly 1 year ago.
March 31st, day that we'll never forget.
An EF3 tornado swept through his Covington neighborhood.
2 minutes later, my life was changed. My community was changed.
Within moments, The place Dennis called home was nearly unrecognizable.
My home wasn't totally destroyed, but it was damaged very bad. The roof was very bad. All my windows was knocked out.
Dennis was renting this home. Shortly after the repairs, the homeowner increased the rent. In addition to everything they lost in the storm, the Taylor family could not afford to stay. They lost their home, too.
We're still looking for a place to live right now.
1 year later, Dennis and his family are living with relatives. The Taylor family is one of many still picking up the pieces.
You had over about 110 houses that were totally destroyed besides the businesses, the factories, the schools.
Covington Mayor Jan Hensley believes losing that many homes all at once made the recovery more difficult for some, highlighting a housing shortage in town.
We're so far behind on the housing market here. We need development. And to start developments in this area, it takes nearly a 3-year process to get everything planned out, zoned, roads built.
That is all a part of the city's 2024 rebuilding plan. Leaders turning vacant lots into family homes. Soon, crews will build a new police station with an 800-square-foot storm shelter in case this ever happens again. So while this storm is far from over, for Dennis, he clings to hope.
Because that wind and that tornado could have took me, but God kept me. and for that, I am so grateful.
Because just like the storm on March 31st, this too shall pass. Amen and amen. Hope is here. So let's talk big picture when it comes not just to Covington, but to Tipton County. More than 400 homes were destroyed, and the emergency management director estimates about 1,500 people are still rebuilding, not just the Taylor family. Let's go now 75 miles southeast from us here in Covington, in McNairy County, where recovery and rebuilding efforts are underway there as well. The EMA director there says that the county is in long-term recovery. 300 homes were affected by the tornado. 100 of those homes were 100% destroyed. 9 people in McNairy County lost their lives that day. This morning, we will remember that community's resilience, their strength, and support for one another during that tragic day. As we continue our team coverage live this morning, I'm in Covington. Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee is also remembering the survivors and the victims of the deadly tornadoes back in March. He gave a statement to our newsroom, and it reads in part, "Maria and I continue to pray for all Tennesseans who were impacted by those tornadoes on March 31st, 2023. As recovery efforts continue, there is great hope in the outpouring of support that Tennesseans have shown in serving their neighbors during their darkest days." The director of TEGNA also says that the road to recovery is long and difficult, but that leaders are committed to seeing it through. McNairy and Tipton counties both received more than 56 million state and federal dollars to rebuild. Now, if you or someone you know that is a survivor of those storms still needs help, help is available through those resources. What you need to do is contact your emergency management agency, and they will guide you as to what to do next and how you can rebuild and move forward. Let's go now 90 minutes away from Covington to McNairy County. Let's take a look at some of that video left behind of the devastation that happened there as well. We know that 9 people were killed in that storm that destroyed more than 100 homes. The damage was in the millions of dollars. While many have rebuilt, others have moved away. We're live this morning on Mueller Bass Road, which is where 4 softball fields are that are being rebuilt at this time. But you can see from all of the damage behind me, the trees that were left behind and still downed from that storm. Let's take a look at this video on your screen that gives you a better overlook at exactly the damage we're talking about here at this softball field. Really, this is video from the City of Covington's Facebook page. It's been viewed more than 17,000 times because this was such a popular popular area where many families would come and just spend the weekends together, competing, cheering, and having tons of fun. This place holds many memories for people in this community, and it's one of the areas that the mayor says will be restored in the coming months and years. It's a very special place. Let's go now to another special place, which is in Wynne, Arkansas, with meteorologist Trevor Burchett, who is following the recovery efforts there.